The rain poured mercilessly as I stood on our driveway, a hastily packed suitcase at my feet and my laptop bag clutched to my chest. Through the streaming water, I could still see my father's face contorted with rage in the doorway. "You're throwing your life away for some stupid tech startup," he roared, his voice competing with the thunder. "No daughter of mine is going to waste her Stanford degree on this nonsense." My mother stood behind him, her expression a mix of disappointment and concern. "Olivia, please," she pleaded. "Just take the job at Goldman Sachs. They're offering you everything: security, prestige, a real future." I tightened my grip on my laptop bag, feeling the hard edge of my business plan inside. 2 years of research, countless sleepless nights, and the validation of 3 tech incubators, all dismissed as nonsense because it didn't fit their definition of success. "This isn't nonsense," I said, my voice surprisingly steady despite the trembling in my hands. AI-driven cybersecurity is the future. My algorithm could protect millions of people from. "Enough," my father cut me off. "Either you take that job offer, or you're no longer welcome in this house." The rain soaked through my clothes as I stood there, 23 years old, summa cum laude from Stanford, and about to be homeless. But something inside me had changed. Maybe it was the countless rejections that had only made my resolve stronger, or maybe it was simply time to stand up for myself. "Then I guess I'm no longer welcome," I replied, picking up my suitcase. My mother gasped. "Olivia, don't be ridiculous. Think about your future." "I am thinking about my future, Mom, just not the one you planned for me." As I turned to leave, my father's voice cut through the rain one last time. "If you walk away now, don't come back until you've learned your lesson." I didn't look back as I walked to my old Honda Civic, the one I'd bought with my internship money against my parents' wishes. They'd wanted to buy me a luxury car for graduation, with strings attached, of course. Like everything else in my life, it would have been another golden handcuff. The engine sputtered to life, and through the rearview mirror, I watched my childhood home disappear into the rain. 12 years of straight A's, captain of the debate team, student body president. None of it mattered because I dared to dream differently. I drove through the wealthy neighborhoods of Atherton, where success was measured in square footage and car brands. My parents' world of corporate ladders and country club memberships felt suffocating. They'd never understand that I wanted to build something of my own, to create technology that could make a difference. My phone buzzed with text messages. "Mom, please come back. We only want what's best for you." "Dad, don't throw away everything we've given you." "Mom, at least take the interview. Just meet with him once." I turned off my phone and focused on the road ahead. In my bag was my laptop containing the code I'd been perfecting since my sophomore year. Everyone said I couldn't predict and prevent cyberattacks in real time. Everyone except Professor Chen, who'd seen the potential in my algorithm when it was just a theory. "The biggest innovations come from those willing to challenge conventional wisdom," he told me. "But be prepared. The world doesn't always welcome disruptors." I hadn't fully understood his warning then. Now, driving through the rain with nowhere to go, it hit me with crystal clarity. The first few weeks were harder than I'd imagined. I couch surfed between college friends, careful not to overstay my welcome. During the day, I worked from coffee shops, refining my code and pitching to potential investors. At night, I took freelance programming jobs to keep myself afloat. My parents' influence in the tech world made things even more challenging. Potential investors would suddenly back out after mysterious phone calls. Promising meetings would end with apologetic emails about conflicts of interest. "Your father is just trying to protect you," one family friend told me after another failed pitch. The startup world is brutal. 9 out of 10 fail within the first year. What they didn't understand, every rejection, every closed door only made me work harder. I improved my algorithm, expanded its capabilities, and documented results that couldn't be ignored. I lived on ramen noodles and coffee, working 18-hour days, sleeping on a second-hand futon in a shared apartment in the roughest part of San Jose. 3 months after being kicked out, I got my first break. A small cybersecurity firm agreed to run a pilot test of my algorithm. The results exceeded even my expectations. My AI detected and prevented attacks that their best systems had missed. Word spread quickly in the tech community. Suddenly, the same investors who'd ignored my emails were calling me. But I remembered who had believed in me when I had nothing. Sarah Chen, a junior partner at Nova Ventures, had been the only one to see past my age and last name. Your parents' connections might open doors, she'd said during our first meeting. But your innovation will break down walls. With Nova's seed funding, I could finally bring Security AI to life. We rented a small office, really just a converted storage room, and I hired my first 2 employees. Both were brilliant programmers who'd been overlooked by big tech companies because they didn't fit the traditional mold. My parents' attempts to save me from myself didn't stop. They sent relatives to talk sense into me. Old family friends would accidentally run into me, armed with job offers and warnings about startup failure rates. Your sister took over the family investment firm, my mother reminded me during one of her rare calls. She's already made partner. Meanwhile, you're throwing away your potential on this experiment. I hung up and went back to work. They didn't know that major tech companies were already showing interest in Security AI. They couldn't see that their successful daughter's investment firm was using outdated security protocols that left their clients vulnerable. 6 months in, we landed our first major client, a mid-sized bank that had suffered a devastating cyber attack. Our system not only secured their network but predicted and prevented 3 potential breaches in the first week. The success attracted attention from bigger players. Tech blogs started writing about the revolutionary AI security system developed by a Stanford graduate. Carefully, purposefully, they never mentioned my last name. I wanted Security AI to succeed on its own merits, not because of, or in spite of, my family name. 1 year after being kicked out, I stood in our new office, a real one this time, with actual windows and space for our growing team. The view wasn't much, just a parking lot and a billboard advertising local businesses. But someday, I promised myself, Security AI's name would be up there in lights. Little did I know how that promise would come true or how my parents would react when they saw it. But that's another part of the story. 4 years after that rainy night, Security AI had grown beyond my wildest dreams. Our small team of 3 had expanded to over 200 employees across 3 offices. The converted storage room was now a sleek headquarters in downtown San Francisco, with a view of the bay that still took my breath away every morning. But success came with its own challenges. The bigger we grew, the harder it became to stay under my family's radar. Tech magazines wanted interviews. Business journals requested profiles. I turned them all down, letting my innovation speak louder than any headline could. You can't hide forever, Sarah Chen, now my closest advisor, warned me one morning as I declined another magazine cover. Security AI is becoming too big to stay in the shadows. She was right. Our AI system had just prevented a massive cyber attack on one of the largest banks in America, saving them billions in potential losses. The story was everywhere in the tech world, and inevitably, it reached my family's attention. The first contact came through LinkedIn. My sister Marina, now managing partner at our family's investment firm. Fascinating article about Security AI. The founder's name is mysteriously absent, but the Stanford connection and timeline are interesting. We should talk. I archived the message without responding. 2 days later, my mother called for the first time in 3 years. Olivia. Her voice was softer than I remembered. Why didn't you tell us, your father and I? We've been watching Security AI's rise for months. We had no idea. Would it have made a difference? I asked, keeping my voice neutral. Would you have supported me if you knew? The silence on the other end answered my question. I have a meeting, I said. Goodbye, Mom. The meeting was with Microsoft's cybersecurity division. They wanted to integrate our AI system into their entire platform, a deal that would make Security AI a household name overnight. As I stood in their Seattle boardroom, presenting to their executives, I couldn't help but think about how far I'd come from that rain-soaked driveway. The Microsoft deal was just the beginning. Google called next, then Apple. Suddenly, Security AI was at the center of a bidding war between tech giants. Our valuation soared past $1 billion, making us the fastest-growing cybersecurity company in history. I still lived simply, pouring most of my earnings back into research and development. My apartment, though in a better neighborhood now, was modest. My Honda Civic had finally died, replaced by a practical Tesla Model 3. More for the autopilot during late work nights than status. Then came the offer that would change everything. The New York Stock Exchange wanted to feature Security AI in their Times Square billboard campaign celebrating innovative tech companies. My face, my name, my story. There would be no hiding anymore. "It's time," Sarah said, watching me stare at the offer email. "You've proven everything you needed to prove." The morning my face appeared on Times Square's largest billboard, I was in our New York office, pretending it was just another day. But my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. "Dad, we just drove past Times Square. Is this why you've been hiding from us all these years?" "Mom, please, can we meet?" "We were wrong. So terribly wrong." "Marina, that's quite a statement you're making, little sister." Father is having a meltdown. I let them all go to voicemail. Instead, I focus on our latest project, a free version of Security AI for nonprofit organizations and educational institutions. Success meant nothing if it couldn't make a real difference in the world. But they wouldn't give up. My parents camped out in the lobby of our New York office, refusing to leave until they saw me. After 3 hours, Sarah convinced me to face them. "Sometimes," she said, "closure is worth more than avoiding pain." When I stepped out of the elevator, I barely recognized them. My father's commanding presence seemed diminished, his shoulders hunched under his expensive suit. My mother's perfectly maintained facade showed cracks of genuine emotion. "Olivia," my father started, his voice uncharacteristically uncertain. "We were wrong. What you've built, it's extraordinary." "We've missed you so much," my mother added, stepping forward. "Please, can we try to make things right?" I looked at them, these people who had shaped my life with their expectations, who had tried to force me into their mold of success. 5 years ago, their approval had meant everything. Now, "I'm not the same person you kicked out," I said quietly. "That girl who desperately wanted your approval, she grew up. She built something meaningful, not because of you, but in spite of you." My father flinched. "We know that now. We want to be part of your life again. Your sister's firm. We could collaborate, bring Security AI into the family business." I held up my hand, stopping him. "That's exactly why this meeting needs to be short. You still don't understand. I didn't build Security AI to prove you wrong or to earn my way back into the family. I built it because I believed in something bigger than our family name." "But we're still your parents," my mother pleaded. "Surely that means something." I smiled, feeling oddly at peace. "It does. It means I'll always be grateful for the education you gave me. It means I'll never forget the lessons you taught me, both the ones you intended and the ones you didn't. But it also means I know exactly what I want to say to you now." They leaned forward, hope flickering in their eyes. "Thank you," I said clearly, "for kicking me out that night. It was the push I needed to become who I was meant to be." Without waiting for their response, I turned and walked back to the elevator. Through the reflection in its polished doors, I watched their expressions shift from hope to understanding. They had expected forgiveness, a tearful reunion, a return to the fold. Instead, they got something else, a daughter who no longer needed their approval. The next morning, Security AI's stock opened at $245 per share. My face still glowed on the Times Square billboard, but it wasn't about proving anything anymore. It was about the thousands of companies our technology protected, the jobs we created, the changes we'd made possible. My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. "Your father's investment firm just tried to buy a major stake in Security AI." I smiled and typed back, "Too late. We already donated those shares to fund cybersecurity education for underprivileged students." Sometimes success isn't about proving your worth to others. Sometimes it's about proving to yourself that you were right to believe in your dreams, even when no one else did. And sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's living well, on your own terms, making a difference in ways that money can't measure. The rain had stopped in New York, and as I walked to our office, I couldn't help but smile at the symmetry. 5 years ago, I stood drenched in a different rain, feeling lost and alone. Now I walked in sunshine, knowing exactly who I was and what I was worth. And that was worth more than any billboard could display.